All right, I've started up MATLAB, and you may notice here that the layout of the windows has changed just a little bit. I moved some stuff around because I wanted to have more visibility for the command window here. Details are down there. We don't use them much, so I shrunk them down. The way you can do this is go to Layout, and you can toggle on and off whichever windows you want to use. And if you want to move them around, just click on that header there and you can move stuff around. See if I move this. So I spent a few minutes playing around, and I think I like this layout a little better. So let's write an M file that makes a Fibonacci sequence, calculates it for us. Well, I need a name. How about fib, F-I-B? First thing I need to know is that already a MATLAB command? There's many MATLAB commands, so it's easy to guess one that already exists. Let's just double check. All right, unrecognized function or variable. That's great news. That means there isn't one already, so I'm free to use that if I want to. So I'm going to say edit fib. It says, do you want to make one? Yes, I do. So there it is. So the first command in any function is the word function. I'm going to say FIB, and I'm going to put that capital N there so that I can pass that number in when I call the function fib. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is put some comment lines in here. Look right? Okay. I'm going to add one more line here. Oops. There we go. And as always, put return at the end. Now this will actually run, and it doesn't do anything, but it will run. And the interesting thing here is these comments here. Remember that everything that comes past or comes after the % sign is a comment. It's in green here on the screen. So anything that's in green, MATLAB ignores. It's just there for us. MATLAB doesn't care about it. And what's helpful here is I can type in the command help fib. When you type in help and then the command name, what you get is the first bunch of comments. So if I type that, all right there on the screen is this text. So it's a way of giving you kind of a shorthand way of kind of like a help file that you can build into the M file if you want. So let's leave that there. Let's type in CLC because that's a pretty good thing to do to keep the screen nice and tidy. Now the first thing I need to do is I need to type in the first two Fibonacci numbers. They're both 1. All right, so 1, 1. The next one will be 2 because it's the sum of those. So it goes 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. I don't know, whatever comes after that. So I'm going to have to go through this over and over again. Boy, I'm sure thinking loop. If I could go through the loop so that enough times to calculate the nth number, that'd be great. So there's a couple of different kinds of loops in MATLAB, and the one we're going to use here, one you're going to use a lot of the time, is called a for loop. I have to type in for, and I have to have a counter, a variable that tells me how many times I'm going through the loop. So I'm going to use I. Now, where do I want to start? Often you'll start at 1. Well, I already know what F1 and F2 are, so maybe I want to start at 3 here and go to N. Now, what if I try to give it an N that's less than 3? Well, I'm going to get an error. There are ways to handle that, but for right now, I'm just going to assume that the input value should be 3 or larger. How about we put that in there? That. Okay, now when you type in help fib, you'll even get an instruction on what N should be. So there's capital N. When you use that, now it's complaining to me because I haven't ended the loop yet. Yeah, I know, I'm working on it. So the ith Fibonacci number is going to be the sum of the previous two. So maybe Fi minus 1 plus Fi minus 2. So those are the previous two numbers in the sequence. I don't need to see that. And when you end a loop, you use the word end. Notice how this is indented here. That's a handy way that MATLAB uses to show you where your loops are. It makes debugging a little easier. It makes it easier to read the code. So will that run? Yes, it'll run. So let's do the, I don't know, 4th Fibonacci number. It didn't put anything to the screen. Well, of course not. I didn't tell it to. Remember, I put that semicolon there. So let's do this. Let's use the display command and let's format a nice output and send that to the command window. There's two ways to do this. One is the display command, and the other one is fprintf. I'm going to use display right here, but if you want to use fprintf, go ahead. So what display does is it sends a string variable to the screen. So let's just start working on this. So that's the beginning of the string variable. I want capital F in parenthesis. Then I need to put capital N in here. Well, it's a variable, it's not a string. But there is a num2string command. So there, that's capital N. And I'm going to need to close the quote, put an equal sign. Let's put a space there to keep things spaced out. And then I'm going to need to put in the last of my Fibonacci numbers. So num2str, oops, little f. There. Now will that run? I think that'll run. Now, see how that's blue? When I click down the command window, see how it turns gray? That means it's saved, so I'm good to go there too. So type in fib4. Oh, look at that, it's 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. All right, let's try a bigger number and see if I got it right. The 20th Fibonacci number is 6765. So let's try that. 20. Let's see if I get 6765. Ooh, I do. Okay, good. Now, it'd be interesting to know what the plot of these numbers look like. If I plotted the Fibonacci number versus I, basically, what would that look like? Let's just add a plot in here. Well, let's pause for a second. If I plot it on linear axes, just x and y, it's going to be a curve, and Fibonacci numbers get big pretty quick. I wonder what it would look like if I plotted it on a semi-log axis, so log vertical and linear x. My spidey sense says that might be a straight line. Well, let's see. Well, I want two plots coming out of this. Now, I can make them as two separate figures if I want, but it's also sometimes handy to put two plots on the same figure. And there's a command called subplot. Now, I'm going to write subplot 211. Now, what that says is I want two rows of plots, one column, and let's look at the first one. So 2, 1, and then 1 is the, look at the first in the list of plots there. And I'll just type in plot F. Now I don't have to give it an X variable here, I only have to give it a Y. If you omit the X variable, it just plots against the index number. Well, that's what I want to do anyway. So let's format this. How about this? I'm going to make it so the plot so that the markers are circles. I'm going to use a solid line, and I'm going to make the line blue. And I probably want to turn the grid on. So let's go to subplot plot 212. So 2 rows, 1 column, the second plot. Now, I don't want a plot, I want a semi-log, and I want the vertical axis to be the log axis. So I'm going to command is semi-log y, and everything else is the same. All right, let's try that. You think that'll run? I think that might run. Let's try it. So let's go up to 20 here and see what we get. Bring this down so you can see. Ooh, that looks good. That is just exactly what we wanted. You can see how the Fibonacci numbers are highly nonlinear. They get big really quick. You can see up there. But if you plot them on a linear or a semi-log axis, log vertical, once you get past the first 3, it's a nice straight line. So that tells us something interesting about the Fibonacci numbers. And there's what happens when you use the subplot command. Now I use 2, 1 as the first 2 numbers. You can use any 2 first numbers you want. If you say 2, 2, it'll give you a square with 2 rows and 2 columns of plots. Now in practice, if you put too many of them on one figure, they get hard to look at. But 2, 1 or 2, 2 is pretty common. So there we have it. Let's stop there. We've used a loop right there in the process of finding Fibonacci numbers. got some practice with the display command, and now you know how to make subplots. So I hope this helps, and we'll talk to you next time.